Shabbat Shalom. What an evening. Legitimately, I can wear my sunglasses tonight. I feel good about it. You know, I've got the sun coming in. Sometimes we do it out of optimism. Now, tonight, we truly can enjoy beautiful breezes, beautiful weather, and of course, being together. And so let us begin this prayer service with a way into prayer, which is through song, through chant, through community. Hava Nashira, let us sing a song of praise.
1, 2, 3.
Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir
Shabbat Shalom. Can you hear me? Oh, awesome. Okay. So I wasn't here last week because I was out west visiting my family, and I always have this real trouble because I say I'm going home when I mean I'm going there, and I say I'm coming home when I'm coming here, and it's very confusing as to where is home. And I will tell you, having missed this last week, coming into this beautiful outdoor sanctuary tonight really felt like I was coming home. And I hope you all feel that way as well as we join together in celebration and welcoming of Shabbat. And so we turn in our prayer books to page 13 as we invite Linda Brodsky to come forward now for the honor of lighting the candles.
This is Israel's day of light and joy, a Sabbath of rest As we kindle these Sabbath flames, may there be light and joy, happiness and holiness, serenity and peace in our homes and in our hearts. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadik ner shel Shabbat. Service continues with Lechadodi on page, what do you got there? 27. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
us turn back in our prayer books to page 23. We are young, our experience is few. We are older, veterans of life's teachings. We are married, we are single, we are Jews of many varied traditions. Having traveled many different roads, our separate journeys have led us all to this sacred place in our lives. We rise now for the Baruch Hu, page 35.
La 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 la
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Leolam Vaed. HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam
Continue now at the bottom of page 36 together. Our kind deeds are used by God as seed for the planting of trees in the Garden of Eden. Thus, each of us, by our deeds, has the power to create our own paradise. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, O God, who makes the evening fall. And on page 38, we are loved by an unending love. We are guided by the still small voice within us. We are loved by an unending love. A ner tamid to be tended from generation to generation. And a gentle love. Giving meaning to our existence, structure to our lives. And of all the generations who have embraced their covenant.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Seated, we join together in the chanting of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We read responsively on page 45. Now we read responsively on page 45. I couldn't tell if it was me or if it was the microphone was turned off because Rabbi Hornston couldn't hear also. So that's my excuse. We celebrate our miracles, the water parting, wall tumbling, sun standing still miracles of our ancestors. Who is like you, O God, creator of fulfillment and joy?
כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגהלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
As we turn to page 47 for Hashkivenu, we take a moment and thank God for this moment of rest in our busy lives, for this gorgeous weather, for this amazing community, for the chance to sit together and pray and be outside and be one people. We join together, 47.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu B'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu B'chayim Hashkivenu Adonai
אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי לאה ואלוהי רחל, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר הסתיוות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Together on the bottom of page 52. Prayer invites us to let God's presence suffuse our spirits, to let God's will prevail in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Blessed are you, O God, who renews all things.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. As you're seated, we pray silently. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל
lot going on lately. But I'm sure that many of you have heard that Senator McCain is now battling illness. There was another senator from Hawaii who has stage 4 cancer who also came to the Senate floor to speak. And right now we have many members on a 300-mile bike ride for Make-A-Wish for children. And I was thinking about them today. It's 100 miles a day. And a friend of mine was doing it. He's done it for many years, and he's like, "Oi, I'm too old for this." I said, "You're gonna be great." But I think that what this shows us is that illness just doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter if you're famous, doesn't matter if you're older or younger, if you're happy, if you're married, if you're single. And so it's important that we pray for everyone, and we pray with full hearts. And so we sing the Misha Berach together on page 66 as we pray for those that we love, for those in our community and our families, and for those who just need a little support.
Good Shabbos. I heard this joke on the radio, and it somehow has gotten under my skin. Why is it so difficult to explain a pun to kleptomaniacs? Because they take things literally. Perhaps the reason this witticism has been rolling around in my head all week is that, as you may have heard, I have recently had the honor of being included in a list of Orthodox, conservative, and Reform rabbis blacklisted by the so-called Chief Rabbinate of Israel. Such nachas. Rabbi Loss made the list of the top 50 rabbis in America a few years ago, but what is that compared to making the blacklist? All of my rabbi friends are so jealous. And at least I am in good company. The list includes the names of some of the great luminaries of our day, including Detroit's own Rabbi Erwin Groner of blessed memory. Somehow he made the list even though he has been dead for 5 years. You may have already read my official response to the Chief Rabbinate in the Jewish News or in the Messenger that's coming out, so I will not replicate it here, but I must say that I am indeed enjoying my 15 minutes of infamy. Now to get back to our joke. You see, some would posit the dispute between the Orthodox authorities in Israel and the more liberal sects of Judaism as one between those who take the Bible literally and those who do not. But that is not the case. The The truth is that we all take the parts of the Torah that we like literally, while ignoring, minimizing, or downplaying those passages that we do not. We do it, the Orthodox do it, everyone does it. Should we subscribe, for instance, to the very reasonable idea that a child should not be responsible for the sins of his or her parents, as explicated in Deuteronomy 24? Or, instead, heed Deuteronomy 5, which declares that the sins of the fathers are indeed visited upon the children? Do we follow the Levitical statement that a man may not lie with a man as with a woman? Okay, but if we do, what about the nearby passage that prescribes the same death penalty for a child who talks back to his or her own father? If we took that passage literally, believe me, I would never have made it out of adolescence. And the same can be said, by the way, for another of our sacred texts, the Constitution of the United States. The Second Amendment, for instance, reads, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." So do we focus on the opening clause that seems to tie the right to bear arms to service in the military, a militia? Seen in this light, the amendment would appear to be saying that it is a guaranteed right of all citizens to be allowed to serve in defense of the nation. Now, what would that literal interpretation say about the latest tweet from our commander-in-chief regarding transgender soldiers in the military? And I must tell you that this question of who could serve in the military was indeed a major issue of political discourse at the time the amendment was written. In fact, just a few years later, Napoleon conferred that very same right onto the Jewish community of France in what was known as the French Sanhedrin. This led, ironically, to the Dreyfus case, which in turn led to the rise of Zionism and the creation of the Jewish state, but that is a story for another day. Now, to be fair, others read that very same sentence quite differently. They tend to ignore or downplay the opening clause in order to focus on the final clause of the amendment. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, in which case the right to bear firearms might be interpreted as a universal right, one without restriction or limit. Can you see now that these two diametrically opposed interpretations of the same sentence could both be construed as literal interpretations? It is just that the two sides of the political debate put their emphasis on only one of its three clauses in order to bolster their own political arguments. And this is not an isolated case. Republicans do it, Democrats do it, chief justices do it, chief rabbis do it. For when it comes to ascertaining the intent of the original framers, be it of the Constitution or the Bible, it always comes down to a question of pshat versus drash. In Torah study, you see, there are two primary layers of interpretation: pshat, the plain meaning of the text, and drash, the interpretive additions of later generations. And of course, the God-written pshat is considered to have authority over the human-generated drash. Once, two rabbis were arguing about the meaning of a biblical passage. One accused the other of distorting the plain meaning of the text. Pushed to explain his method of interpretation, the second rabbi explained, "You see, what I say is pshat. What you say is drash." And that is the human condition. What I believe is pshat. What you believe is drash. That is what motivated the chief rabbinate to formulate their absurd, surreal, McCarthyistic list. That is what is keeping women from reading Torah at the Western Wall, and that is what is driving political discourse here in America today. Fake news, not fake news. In other words, what I say is pshat, what you say is drash. There could be no better explication of this principle than the book of Deuteronomy, which we begin reading this Shabbat. For the question of how one might interpret the Torah hinges upon a disagreement over when it was written and by whom. Orthodox Judaism believes that the Torah was written by God at Mount Sinai, or at least dictated word by word to Moses. Reform Judaism believes that the Torah was indeed inspired by God, but written down by human beings. According to the scientific study of the Torah, this process of composition took place in 4 stages, represented by 4 primary manuscripts known as J, E, P, and D, the D standing for Deuteronomy. Now, why is this book singled out as its own distinct manuscript when none of the other books are? First of all, because Deuteronomy retells the stories contained in the previous 3 books, and since the rabbis believe that there can be no repetition in the Torah, the book of Deuteronomy always has been an enigma. In addition, although the book does echo the events and themes of Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, it makes some significant changes to those accounts. Most notably, that in the previous iterations, one could make one's own sacrifices to God anywhere, using one's own local parish priest, if you will. But in Deuteronomy, the cult is centralized, meaning that the worshiper must now schlep his sacrifices up to Jerusalem 3 times a year for the pilgrimage festivals of Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot. Now, I think you would agree that this centralization would be extremely beneficial to, say, an Israelite king, one who might desire a more efficient, centralized way to collect taxes, perhaps, or conscript young men into the army. And as it turns out, a literal reading of the biblical text will tell us exactly who that king was and when those innovations were introduced. In 2 Kings chapter 22, we find the most amazing revelation. It seems that King Josiah has sent his high priest Hilkiah into the holy temple in order to tally the silver collected there so it might be used to refurbish the temple. Sort of like what we are doing here this summer, and why all of you, Nebuch, have to use the porta potties. In any case, after rummaging around in the Holy of Holies, the high priest emerges and proclaims, "I have found a scroll of the Torah in the house of the Lord." Now, this is quite remarkable. A new book of the Torah, previously unknown? How is that possible? And we know that it was previously unknown because the king responds to this discovery by saying, quote, "Great must be the wrath of the Lord that has been kindled against us, because our fathers did not obey the words of the scroll to do all that has been prescribed for us," unquote. And, these are my words, which is why I, King Josiah, just happened to be fixing up the temple in order to welcome all of the new pilgrims who will be coming to Jerusalem 3 times a year from now on, cha-ching, cha-ching. So if you take the Bible itself literally, you would have to admit that at least one book of the Torah was not dictated directly by God at Sinai 1250 BCE or thereabouts, because according to the biblical account itself, it was not even heard of until the reign of King Josiah circa 650 BCE, 600 years later. Does this mean that we should ignore the book of Deuteronomy because it was most likely written at the behest of a king by a human being? Of course not, because then we would have to purge our liturgy of the Shema, the watchword of our faith. No, great spiritual masterpieces can be written by human beings, inspired by God. It is just that you have to be careful about which parts you are taking literally. So, my friends, why is it so difficult to debate religious issues in Israel and political issues in America today? Clearly, because both sides take things so very literally. May we be blessed with the wisdom to carry forth our own interpretations of Torah and of the Constitution, while also being open to and respectful of the truths, the understandings, the interpretations, and the beliefs of those with whom we literally disagree. Shabbat Shalom.
ויקץ יעקב משנתו ויאמר אכן יש אדוני במקום הזה אנוכי לא
So incredible to always welcome the Simone Vitale Band with us here on Shabbat. So as for the blacklist, I was only upset there were no women on it, right? So maybe next time. So I'd like to invite a member of our executive committee, Hillary King, forward to offer some congregational announcements.
Good Shabbos. Brotherhood's paid-up member barbecue will take place at 6 p.m. on Thursday, August 10th, complete with steak, salmon, and all the trimmings. All are welcome to come and enjoy, which I'm not so sure is true because it's called the Brotherhood's paid-up member barbecue. So we might need to clarify that a little bit. We'll get back to you. Here's a wild idea. We're having Shabbat services at the zoo. On Saturday, August 12th, meet at 10 a.m. at the Polar Bear Pearson Lake picnic site for the Shabbat service with songs and crafts. Bring your own picnic and we'll bring the snacks. Advance registration is required and all are welcome to come for sure. We'll be having another not-so-wild Shabbat service focused for our senior adults on Saturday, August 19th at the 10:30 a.m. Boker Or service led by Cantor Neil Michaels. There will be a light lunch served after services. Speaking of Cantor Michaels, Sunday, August 20th, Brotherhood invites you to join them at the Tiger game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Shabbat singers will sing the national anthem under the direction of Cantor Michaels. A portion of each ticket purchased from Brotherhood will provide tickets for guests from Jark, Kadima, and other nonprofits. For further information for any of these programs, check the information table or call the temple office. Please join us after services for the Oneg and Shabbat greetings. On behalf of the officers and members of the Board of Trustees, Shabbat Shalom.
I'm about to get in a whole boatload of trouble, but I don't care. Today is my mom's birthday, and she wouldn't let me celebrate with a party she's going like this. She's going like this. But without this woman, I would not be here. I would not be who I am. She is so special and so incredible, and I'm so blessed that she is my mom. So Ad Mea Ve'asrim, many, many more. And Fran Peel, I love you too. Are you here, Fran Peel? It is also your birthday. So as we turn to the adoration, just a second, we are going to turn to page 76, and we would also like to welcome the women of Hartford Memorial Baptist Church. We are so, so thankful that you are here. They share dinner with our sisterhood. You are welcome here every Shabbat. We love hosting you. So, Mom, Fran, you can bring your husbands if you like. One of them's my dad. As we turn to page 76, and if there are any children here 11 and younger, please join us as well. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. נאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. This moment in our service in this beautiful outdoor sanctuary, we do take time to remember those we have loved and lost, and we especially mention those who have died in the past 30 days, the period of Shloshim. Minnie Nathanson Adelson, Melvin Barnett, Norman Bornstein, Robert Coleman, Lori Drucker, Phyllis Ensmincher, Nettie Firestein, Paul Fox, Sylvia Goodman, Herb Gubo, Gerald Hallberg, Richard Hartz, Dennis Herman, Lawrence Kamen, Pearl Mautner, Sylvia Pomerantz, Norman Rotenberg, Myra Schloss, Marilyn Schneid, Susan Salter, Betty Stramer, Beatrice Sulzer, Maury Wexler, Maury Dubin, and Betty Sherazin. We also recall the names of those whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat. Herman Belgrade, Deborah Barris, Erwin Bloomberg, Albert Abe Cooper. Walter Fish, Harry Gladner, Jay Golden, Jerry Goldman, Helen Goodstein, Jean Greenbaum, Francis Hamburger, Saul Herman, George Ingber, David Irie, A. David Kahn. Ann Keltz, Dr. Hippolito Julio Kryman, Ruth Lefkowitz, Roy Levitt, Paul Leonard Moretsky, Dr. Howard Neff, Dr. Abe Perlman. Harold Rosenberg, Dr. Harold Rossmore, Sam Roth, Matthew Salzenstein, Morris Sapperstone, Ruth Schwartz, Donald Skolnick, Dr. Benjamin Stein, Sam Stoller, Alice Tenkard, Abraham Weisberg, Ann Weisberg, Philip Gorin, David Greenberg, Nathan Levitt, Mae Franklin, Mildred Kohlenberg, Jack Allen, Leb Horowitz, Joan Collins, Lorraine McGill, John Latka, Rose Bressler, Louise Bressler, Morris Herlick, Fanny Braverman, Julia Golden, Joan Poons, Nate Poons, Helen Phillips, Mary Baker, Ida Irie, Mark Zupke, Irving Michaels, Molly K. Michaels, Betty Bennett, Robert Shawn, Dr. Myron Gerber, Natalie Gerber, Jerry Valinsky, Muriel Oppenheim, Honey Friedman, Leonard Drutman, Sylvia Perlman, Judy Perlman, and Joseph Adler. We remember them with love and honor them with words of Kaddish on page 80. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam le'olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We pray that the source of peace sends peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Amen.
A beautiful evening. We've successfully planted these all over the bima, so just in case one should lose battery. A beautiful evening made all the more so by the Simone Vitali Band, who bring their talent and enthusiasm and help to open our hearts to prayer. So our thanks to them, our thanks to Emma Trivax, Shlichei Tzibur, and Melissa Feldman for joining as well to help make our service so beautiful. We conclude with words of blessing and love to Tfilat Haderech, which can be found in your prayer books somewhere at the beginning. I'm going to guess page... Let's go with page 7. Put your arm around somebody. May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided Shabbat Shalom.